Hi guys, so I have made a slideshow just to help y'all with this week's work. This is week 4, and this should help you out whenever you're finishing your work. All right, what life needs to survive? Life needs water to live. If there is no water, then a planet cannot have life. An example of this would be Jupiter. Jupiter doesn't have any water, so no life can form there. Life also needs a good atmosphere. This is for oxygen and other things like ultraviolet rays, stuff like that, but we'll get into that later. Space stations. Space stations must have an oxygen system. Space is airless, so this allows for the astronauts to breathe. If you don't have an oxygen system in the space station, you are not going to be able to survive because you can't breathe. Space is completely airless. If an astronaut was to go outside of the space station, they must wear protective gear. An example of this would be wearing thick gloves because of the low temperature. Now we're going to talk more about spacesuits. Spacesuits are what astronauts wear when going outside of the space station. It helps keep them protected from the conditions in space. Y'all, it is negative 454 degrees up there. That is super, super cold and unlivable. They have a high capacity thermal insulation to help regulate their body temperature. That seems like a whole lot and it might confuse you. All it is saying that it has a thick layer that allows their body temperature to keep at the normal degree. So if you have a thermal hoodie or a thermal shirt that helps keep you cold in the wintertime, that's what it does, but at a much higher level. Micrometeoroids, which are tiny bits of space debris traveling at high speeds, is something that astronauts have to be protected against. This is done with the tough outer shell that the spacesuit has. Charlie, no, get away from there. Stop. Can life survive? If a planet's temperature is too hot or too cold, it will not be able to survive. Get away. What determines a planet's temperature? This is the distance from the sun. That's what determines the planet's temperature. A planet's atmosphere also determines if life can live there. If a planet has an atmospheric ozone layer, then life could exist. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I said stuff like ultraviolet rays and stuff like that. The ozone layer can support life by blocking ultraviolet light. So you need an atmosphere to breathe, but you also need it to block ultraviolet light. So Mars. Scientists think that Mars may have once supported life. They believe this because Mars has small amounts of water in the soil. And then astronaut living. Astronauts living on the space station live differently than they would if they were on Earth. There's very little gravity or microgravity. Microgravity affects their bones, so they use exercise equipment to combat it. And that's it for this week. I'm going to put this PowerPoint on Google Classroom for you so you can reference back to it when you're going over your work. Hope all is well. Bye, guys.